Hey guys, tonight we're going on a journey, a very long journey across a truly immense landscape. We're heading back in time to the ancient Silk Road not to talk about spices or silk, but to see it through the eyes of the women who lived along its many paths. Imagine the heat shimmering off the sand dunes, the heavy rhythmic creak of camel saddles, the smell of exotic perfumes mixing with dust and sweat. The world we're stepping into is a chaotic, vibrant, and dangerous place. It's a world where a woman's life was defined by tradition, but also a place where just a few, managed to bend the rules and forge a destiny of their own. Let's be real, you'd probably not survive 5 minutes out there, the sandstorms alone would do you in. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from in the comments and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You feel the coarse wool of the tunic against your skin, a familiar, scratchy sensation that has been a part of your life for as long as you can remember. Your name for now is Anya, and your world is the small, sun-baked oasis of Dunhuang. The sun is a relentless golden eye in the sky, and its warmth seeps into the very bones of the mud brick houses that line the dusty streets. Your days are a rhythm of quiet tasks, a silent dance with the loom that sits patiently in the corner of your family's courtyard. The loom is not just an object, it's a living thing, a wooden skeleton that breathes in threads and exhales fabric. You are a weaver, and this is your life. The women in your family have been weavers for generations, their hands moving with the same practiced grace as your grandmother's and her mother's before her. It is an honest, respected craft, a cornerstone of your family's modest prosperity. But the world outside your courtyard walls is changing, and you can feel it in the very air you breathe. The Silk Road. This invisible network of trade routes that snakes across deserts and mountains is a constant presence. It's the rumble of camel caravans passing through the oasis, the distant jingle of their bells, a constant soundtrack to your life. You see the traders' men from far-off lands with different clothes, different languages, and the scent of unknown spices clinging to them. They bring with them not just goods, but stories and ideas and a sense of a world far larger than your small oasis. Your mother warns you against dreaming of such things. A woman's world is within these walls, Anya. She would say, her fingers never stopping their work on the loom. Our strength is in our craft, our family, and our traditions. The road is for men. Yet you can't help but be curious. The caravan that just arrived is the biggest you've ever seen. The main thoroughfare is a river of people, a cacophony of languages you don't understand, and the pungent smells of camel dung, roasted meat, and something sweet and floral you can't quite place. Your father, a pragmatic and kind man, takes some of your family's finished fabrics to the market. He's proud of your work, of the intricate patterns you've been perfecting since you were a little girl. You've always had a special talent for it, a touch that makes your weaves finer, your colors more vibrant. Sometimes you sneak out to the edge of the market, a veil drawn over your face to hide your identity just to watch. This is where you see her. She's not from here. Her clothes are a riot of bright colors you've only seen in pigments, not in fabric. Her skin is a shade darker than yours, her eyes a brilliant, startling green. She's haggling with a merchant over a bolt of silk, her voice a rapid-fire string of words in a language that sounds like music. She's not a wife or a daughter in the traditional sense. She's a merchant herself, her own goods laid out on a stall beside a weathered old man who seems to be her partner. You've heard whispers of such women traveling the road with their families, sometimes even alone. They are an anomaly, a breach in the carefully constructed wall of your world. One of the most fascinating but rarely discussed aspects of the Silk Road is the sheer variety of roles women held, roles that were often invisible to the grand narratives of trade and conquest. While many women were confined to domestic life, others were traders, healers, and even religious figures. This woman, the merchant with the green eyes, is a living testament to that. She's trading small, intricately carved figurines and jars of something that smells like rosewater. You watch mesmerized as she closes the deal with a smile and a firm handshake, a gesture so foreign it takes your breath away. A historian might point out that the legal status of women on the Silk Road varied dramatically depending on the culture and region, But you don't need a legal text to tell you that this woman is operating with a freedom that you can only dream of. You find yourself drawn to her stall, your feet moving of their own accord. She sees you, her green eyes twinkling, and gestures to the jars of rosewater. "For a beautiful weaver's hands," she says in broken but understandable common tongue. You blush, but her sincerity is disarming. You don't have much to trade, but you have a small, intricately woven silk purse you made as a gift for your mother. You offer it, your heart pounding. She takes it, her fingers delicate and strong, examining the pattern with an expert eye. The work of a master, she says her praise a warm, unexpected balm. She gives you a jar of rosewater and a small, smooth stone, a brilliant shade of lapis lazuli. "For luck," she says, "and for courage." The road is waiting. This encounter, this small act of kindness and recognition, plants a seed in your heart. You go home, the scent of rosewater on your hands, the cool stone, a secret weight in your pocket. The loom no longer feels like a comfortable cage. It feels like a tool, a means to an end. You start to see your craft in a new light. Your family's traditional patterns are beautiful, but what if you could weave the stories of the road itself? What if you could capture the brilliant colors of the merchant's tunic, the deep blue of the lapis lazuli, the shimmering gold of the desert sun? You begin to experiment using new dyes traded at the market, weaving new threads into the old patterns. Your father, ever supportive, watches you with a quiet, knowing smile. He sees the spark in your eyes, the ambition that your mother tries so hard to temper. One day he brings home a piece of fabric unlike anything you've ever seen. It's a tapestry from the West, a vibrant scene of a hunt with strange animals and even stranger people. The colors are so rich they practically glow, and the thread is so fine it feels like liquid in your hands. This is not just weaving. This is art. Your father tells you it was traded by a wealthy merchant from Persia, and it came all the way from Byzantium. It's an overwhelming, tangible piece of a world you've only heard whispers of. This is one of those universal historical truths. The Silk Road wasn't just a conduit for goods, but for art ideas and cultural exchange. You spend hours studying the tapestry, deconstructing its patterns, trying to understand how such a masterpiece could have been made. The challenge ignites something in you, a passion that your daily familiar task could never quite fulfill. Your mother, of course, is worried. She sees this new obsession as a dangerous distraction. You're a weaver, not an artist, Anya. We make what people need, not what they dream of. She's not wrong, but she's not entirely right either. The patterns you're developing are starting to attract attention at the market. Your father, a shrewd businessman, finds buyers who are willing to pay more for your unique pieces. They are a welcome departure from the traditional, and the merchants who travel the road are always looking for new and interesting things to trade. You're starting to make a name for yourself, not just as a weaver, but as the weaver, the one with the stories in her cloth. But the road is a fickle mistress, and trade is not always a steady stream. One year, a severe drought makes the oasis a difficult place to live. Caravans are fewer, and the ones that do come through are looking for water and food, not luxuries like intricate tapestries. Your family struggles. The loom, once a source of comfort, now feels heavy with the weight of your family's needs. Your father is forced to travel further afield to larger oases to sell the last of your finished work. He's gone for weeks at a time, and the courtyard feels empty without his reassuring presence. It's during this time that you come to a realization your skills, your talent are a resource, a currency, and you have to learn how to use them to keep your family afloat. You decide to take matters into your own hands. You approach the merchant with the green eyes who has returned to the oasis after a long journey. You tell her of your family's struggles, and you show her the tapestry you've been working on, a piece that tells the story of the drought, of the parched land, and the brave few who travel it. It's a risk, a big one. She could dismiss you, laugh at your audacity, but she doesn't. She looks at the tapestry, her fingers tracing the patterns, her expression one of deep respect. "This is not just a piece of cloth," she says softly. "This is a memory, a piece of your soul. I will take it to my people, and they will pay a high price for it." She tells you that in the bustling markets of the West, people crave the stories of the East, and your tapestry, with its raw honesty and intricate detail, is a story they will want to own. This encounter shifts the entire paradigm of your life. The merchant whose name is Zara becomes your mentor. She teaches you the basics of trade, how to haggle without losing your dignity, how to spot a counterfeit dye, and how to understand the complex network of relationships that holds the Silk Road together. She teaches you about the different kinds of silk, the fine gossamer threads from China versus the heavier, more durable ones from Syria. She tells you about the different currencies used along the route, from copper coins to bolts of cloth, and the unspoken language of gesture and trust that is the true foundation of all trade. It's an education unlike any other one that would never be taught to a girl in a traditional setting. But you're not in a traditional setting anymore. You're on the edge of the world, and the world is calling to you. The more you learn, the more you realize that the world of a woman on the Silk Road wasn't a single uniform experience. While the majority were tied to the home, others were active participants in the economic and cultural life of their communities. Historians still debate the extent of women's economic power, whether they were just an extension of their husbands' and fathers' businesses, or if they truly held independent financial sway. You, however, are a testament to the latter. You are not just a weaver anymore, you're a burgeoning entrepreneur. You are no longer weaving for your family's survival, but for a future you are actively shaping. Zara, with her boundless energy and infectious optimism, encourages you to think bigger. Your tapestries are not just for the local market, Anya. They are a window into your world. There are people in the far west who would pay a fortune for them. She offers to take a selection of your work on her next journey, a long and perilous trip that will take her far from Dunhuang across deserts and mountains to the city of Samarkand. It's a terrifying proposition. The thought of your creations, your art, traveling so far without you is unsettling. But the prospect of what it could mean for your family, for your future, is even more compelling. You spend the next few months working with a feverish intensity, weaving tapestries that tell the stories of your life, your home, and the world you see from the edge of the oasis. One piece shows the vast star-strewn sky of the desert night, the constellations you've known since childhood, rendered in shimmering silver threads. Another is a tribute to the merchant, with the green eyes, a vibrant tapestry of bustling market scenes, and the journey across the desert. It is the story of your new beginning, the moment you stepped from the shadows of tradition into the light of possibility. You are not just weaving cloth, you are weaving your own narrative, a tangible manifestation of your hopes and dreams. When Zara returns months later, she is a changed woman, weathered by the road but with a light in her eyes that shines brighter than ever. She brings with her not just the promised money, but a wealth of new goods, dyes of a startling crimson, threads of a silk so fine it feels like water, and a jar of spices that makes your kitchen smell like a foreign land. She tells you stories of the markets in Samarkand, of the grand caravanserai, where traders from all corners of the known world meet, of the intricate politics and the lively debates over the price of a single ounce of pepper. She paints a picture of a world so vibrant and alive that you can almost feel the energy pulsing through her words. The tapestry sold for a price you could have never imagined. The money is enough to see your family through several more droughts, to buy your father a new camel, and to stock your mother's pantry with more food than she's seen in years. But more than the money, Zara brings you a message from a wealthy merchant in Samarkand. He was so taken with your work that he has requested a tapestry of a specific design, a grand piece depicting the great city of Samarkand itself, with its towering minarets and bustling markets. It's a commission, a real one, and the idea of it fills you with both terror and exhilaration. This is the turning point. This is the moment you realize that your life, which was once a predictable, repetitive cycle of tasks, is now a story with an uncertain, thrilling future. You are no longer just a weaver in a small oasis. You are an artist, a creator, a part of a network of trade and communication that spans continents. The loom, once a tool of domestic duty, is now your portal to the world. And the dusty roads that once seemed so distant and dangerous are now a possibility, a path that you might one day walk yourself. As you sit at your loom, the new threads and dyes laid out before you, you begin to imagine the city of Samarkand. You've never been there, but you have Zara's descriptions, and you have your own imagination fueled by the whispers of the road. You start to weave the shuttle, flying through the warp and weft, creating the foundation of a new tapestry. It is a testament to the power of a single talent, a small rebellion against the traditional roles assigned to you. The thread you are weaving is not just silk, it is the thread of your own destiny, and it is a color that no one else could have imagined. This is where your journey truly begins. Not on the road, but in the quiet, focused space of your own mind, in the intricate patterns and vibrant colors of the world you are creating. The road is calling, and you, the oasis weaver, are now ready to answer. You pack a small bag, the weight of a few carefully chosen possessions feeling monumental. The silk purse with the lapis lazuli stone is tucked inside a small, tangible reminder of the woman who set you on this path. Your father watches you with a mixture of pride and worry, a silent blessing in his eyes. Your mother, still a fortress of tradition, is resigned, but not entirely disapproving. The success of your tapestries has softened her, a practical acknowledgement that your defiance has brought prosperity to the family. Zara, the green-eyed merchant, is your escort, a vibrant presence whose very existence seems to defy the desert's vast emptiness. She's promised to take you to a caravanserai just a few days' journey away, a bustling hub, where you can meet other merchants and secure a larger commission. This isn't the entire Silk Road, not yet, but it's a vital first step, a tentative toe dipped into the river of trade. The journey begins before dawn, the air cool and crisp against your face. You ride on a sturdy donkey, a far less glamorous form of transport than the majestic camels of the great caravans. But it is steady, and it is yours. The oasis recedes behind you, its familiar silhouette of mud brick houses and waving date palms shrinking into a mirage. For the first time, you are not just watching the road, you are on it. The sun rises, a brilliant, blinding orb that turns the endless sand into a sea of gold. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft pad of the donkey's hooves and the occasional creak of your bag. Zara, riding her own camel, is a steady presence beside you, a constant source of quiet reassurance. She points out landmarks, ancient rock formations that look like sleeping giants, and tells you stories of other journeys of close calls and unexpected fortunes. You are a merchant's daughter now, at least in this fleeting moment. But this isn't a life of leisure. It's a life of constant vigilance. You learn to read the sky to spot the subtle signs of an approaching sandstorm. You learn to ration water, a precious commodity more valuable than any silk or spice. You learn to sleep lightly, one eye always open, listening to the vast empty silence of the desert. Zara teaches you how to negotiate not just with words, but with your posture, your tone, the very essence of your being. The price is not just a number, Anya, she says one evening as you huddle around a small fire. It's a story. You must convince them your goods are worth not just their coin, but their attention, their desire. One of the most profound yet often overlooked aspects of Silk Road life was the role of women in the informal economy. While major trade deals were often dominated by men, women played a crucial part in local markets, managing households that were also small-scale businesses and contributing to the family income through crafts like weaving, pottery, and food production. You, now a traveling weaver, are an example of this, a step above the local market, but still very much a part of this vital female network. You're not a powerful magnate, but you are a self-sustaining entity, a small boat on a very big ocean. This is the truth of it. The grand narrative of the Silk Road is built on a million small stories, and many of them belong to women like you, carving out a space for themselves with nothing but their skills and their courage. The caravanserai appears on the horizon like a fortress rising from the sand. As you get closer, you see it is indeed a fortress, a massive square of high walls with a single grand archway leading into a bustling courtyard. The noise hits you like a wave, the braying of camels, the shouts of merchants, the clanging of blacksmiths, the chatter of a dozen different languages. It's an intoxicating, overwhelming sensory assault. You are no longer in the quiet solitude of the desert. You are in the beating heart of the Silk Road. Inside the courtyard is a miniature world, a melting pot of cultures and commodities. There are traders from the Far East with their delicate porcelains, men from the West with their sturdy woolen cloths, and merchants from the south with their fragrant spices. You feel small, a single drop in this vast ocean of humanity, but you also feel a strange sense of belonging. This is where the stories you have woven are born. Zara finds a space for you near a well, a small corner where you can lay out your tapestries. Your heart is pounding. This is it, the moment you've been working towards. The first few hours are slow. People walk by glancing at your work with mild curiosity, but no one stops. You feel a pang of disappointment, a fear that your tapestries, which seemed so extraordinary in your quiet courtyard, are nothing special here. But then a man with a long graying beard and a kind face stops. He is a merchant from Sogdia, a land known for its traders. He looks at your tapestries with a discerning eye, his gaze lingering on the one depicting the desert sky. "The constellations are wrong," he says quietly, a twinkle in his eye. "Those are the stars of the Far East, not the ones we see here." You explain that you are a weaver from Dunhuang, and you use the patterns passed down through generations. He nods, his smile broadening. "Ah, a story then. Not a map. That is what makes it so valuable." He buys the tapestry, paying a fair price, and in that moment you realize the core of Zara's lesson. The story is what sells the product. The value is in the narrative, the authenticity, the piece of yourself you've woven into the thread. You spend the next few days in a whirlwind of activity. You learn to set your prices with confidence, to haggle without being aggressive, to listen more than you speak. You sell another tapestry, this one, a commission for a wealthy merchant's family, a piece that will tell the story of their journey from the West. You start to see patterns in the flow of trade, to understand the subtle politics of the caravanserai. The merchants are a tight-knit community, a strange family of strangers bound by a shared love of profit and a deep respect for those who can endure the road. You find a few other women traders, a group of quiet, competent women who sell fine leathers and woven baskets. They are your allies, your source of information and your lifeline in this male-dominated world. They share stories of the dangers of the road, the importance of a good caravanserai master, and the best way to get a good price on a bolt of silk. They are living proof that women weren't just passengers on the Silk Road. They were drivers of its economy, and they were in their own way shaping its history. This is a lesser-known fact about the Silk Road, the presence of women in positions of power, particularly within the trading communities of certain regions. While the extent of this varied widely, there were historical examples of women who owned caravans, ran businesses, and managed entire estates. This wasn't a universal experience, but it was a historical reality that challenges our modern assumptions about ancient societies. And historians still debate the true extent of this power. Was it an exception to the rule, or was it a more widespread but simply undocumented reality? You, in your small way, are a part of that debate, a living, breathing contradiction to the idea that a woman's place was strictly in the home. The journey home is different. The desert, which once seemed vast and intimidating, now feels familiar, almost comforting. You know its rhythms, its dangers, and its secrets. You have a purse full of coins, commissions for future work, and a head full of new ideas for your tapestries. The experience has changed you. The girl who left the oasis was a weaver. The woman who returns is a merchant's daughter, a storyteller, and a woman who has a firm grip on her own destiny. You've tasted the freedom of the road, and you know with a certainty that hums deep in your bones that this is just the beginning. Your mother, watching you arrive, sees the change in you. She sees the confidence in your posture, the light in your eyes. She no longer scolds you for dreaming. She asks you about the markets, about the people you met. Your father, of course, is a quiet hero, proud of your success and the respect you've earned. He knows that you have secured the family's future in a way that his traditional trading could never have done. You are no longer just Anya the weaver. You are Anya the merchant. And your loom, once a symbol of domesticity, is now your most powerful tool, a testament to your talent and your courage. The road is a part of you now, a thread woven into the fabric of your life. And you know without a doubt that you will travel it again. The scent of ink and aged paper replaces the dry, dusty smell of the desert. You are in a different world now, a world of quiet contemplation and whispered knowledge. You've left the life of a traveling merchant behind, at least for a time, to seek something more profound. Your success as a weaver brought your family prosperity, but it also brought a quiet yearning for a different kind of understanding. So when a revered Buddhist monk from the Mogao caves, the very caves that overlook your home oasis of Dunhuang, offered you a place as a scribe, a documentarian of the faith you knew you had to accept. This is not a traditional path for a woman. While there were female scribes, particularly in religious settings, your role is a testament to the changing social landscape. The Silk Road didn't just carry goods, it was a conduit for ideas, philosophies, and religions, and Buddhism was one of its most powerful currents. The Mogao Caves are not just a collection of shrines, they are a living library, a repository of centuries of art texts and devotion. Your days are spent in a cool, dark cave, the flickering light of an oil lamp illuminating the delicate brushstrokes of your work. You are tasked with copying sacred texts, a meticulous and meditative process that requires a steady hand and a focused mind. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft scrape of your brush on the parchment and the distant echoing chants of the monks. The work is a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of the caravanserai. Here, time seems to stretch and fold, and the world outside the cave feels like a distant dream. But the Silk Road is a tenacious presence even here. The texts you are copying are often brought by traveling pilgrims and monks, men and women, who have made incredible journeys to bring new sutras and commentaries from the far corners of Asia. They are the same kind of people who once haggled with you over the price of a tapestry, but their currency is not coin. It is enlightenment. You listen to their stories, tales of dangerous mountain passes, treacherous river crossings, and encounters with bandits and benevolent strangers. You see the weariness in their eyes, but also the burning light of their faith. One afternoon, a pilgrim from a kingdom in Central Asia arrives, a small, stooped man with a gentle face. He brings with him a sutra, written on palm leaves, a text so delicate and old that you have to handle it with the utmost care. He tells you that the text was copied by a female scribe in his monastery, a woman who, like you, found her calling in the quiet world of letters. This is one of those specific historical details that is often overlooked. While male scribes and monks dominate the historical records, there is evidence that women played a vital, if less visible, role in the spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road. They were nuns, patrons of the arts, and in some cases revered scholars in their own right. The existence of this woman, a scribe in a distant land, is a powerful reminder that you are not alone, that your path, while unusual, is a part of a larger, interconnected history. Your hand cramps, but you continue your work, the ink a dark, permanent record of a fleeting thought. The words flow from the brush, each character a small prayer, a silent offering. You are not just copying texts, you are preserving knowledge, a vital link in the chain of a great tradition. This is a role that gives you a different kind of power, a power that comes not from wealth or trade, but from the ability to hold and transmit knowledge. Your perspective on the world begins to shift. You start to see the Silk Road not just as a network of trade, but as a neural network, a complex web of ideas and beliefs that connects people across vast distances. A peculiar but fun fact you've learned here is about the ancient ink recipes. The monks here used a variety of ingredients, but some of the most vibrant blues and reds were made from powdered lapis lazuli and crushed cinnabar, both precious commodities traded on the Silk Road. It's a reminder that even in this serene spiritual world, you are still intrinsically connected to the road, to the merchants and traders you once knew. The very tools of your craft are a testament to the vast network of exchange that pulses outside your cave. This detail makes you smile. The world you left behind is still with you, a part of your new life. You receive a letter, a rare and precious thing from a former trading partner. She is now a wealthy merchant in the city of Kashgar and has a proposition for you. She wants to commission a series of illustrated scrolls texts that tell the stories of the Silk Road not in words alone, but through your unique artistic style. She wants you to document the vibrant life of the road, the markets, the caravans, the people in a way that only you can. It's a bridge between your two lives, a call to combine the discipline of a scribe with the artistry of a weaver. Historians still debate the extent to which these two worlds, the religious and the commercial, truly intersected. Were the monasteries and temples a refuge from the chaos of trade, or were they an integral part of it, acting as banks, hostels, and even centers of information exchange? You now are a living embodiment of that intersection, a perfect synthesis of the two worlds. The proposition is a difficult one. Your life here is peaceful and fulfilling, but the call of the road and the opportunity to use your unique talents in a new way is a powerful pull. The choice is yours, and you know with a deep certainty that whichever path you choose, you will continue to forge a destiny that is uniquely your own. The quiet of the monastery is shattered by the insistent call of the wind. A new kind of traveler arrives, not a pilgrim or a merchant, but a nomadic healer, a woman of the plains with eyes the color of a stormy sky. She carries with her a small bag filled with dried herbs, polished stones, and the profound wisdom of a people who live in harmony with the land. Her name is Sora, and she is a woman of immense grace and a quiet, unshakable strength. She has come to the monastery seeking a rare type of mineral pigment, said to have healing properties, a mineral traded by merchants from the West. Her presence is a stark contrast to the scholarly calm of the caves, a wild, untamed energy that breathes life into the dusty air. You, the scribe, are tasked with helping her. Your knowledge of the texts and your understanding of the intricate trade routes you once traveled make you the perfect bridge between these two worlds. Sora tells you of her people, of their deep reverence for the natural world, and of their ancient remedies passed down through generations. She speaks of poultices made from desert plants, salves for wounds made from animal fats, and teas brewed from rare mountain herbs. This is not just medicine. It is a way of life, a deep spiritual connection to the earth. She tells you that her people, the nomads, rely on their knowledge of the land for survival, but also on the trade routes for the things they cannot find in their own territory. You find a particular delight in her humor, a dry, witty kind of humor born of a life spent in the harshest of conditions. She tells you a joke about a camel who tried to trade its hump for an extra bag of dates, and it makes you laugh in a way you haven't in years. The monastery is a place of peace, but it can also be a place of immense seriousness. Sora's humor is a welcome reminder of the world outside, a world full of life and laughter, even in the face of hardship. It's a moment of connection that transcends your different worlds, a small shared joy that bridges the gap between the nomadic healer and the monastery scribe. One afternoon, as you help her sift through dusty scrolls, she tells you about a particularly rare herb that grows only in the high mountain passes of the Hindu Kush. She says it is a powerful remedy for fevers, but it is incredibly difficult to acquire. She has traded valuable horses and woven rugs for it in the past, but the supply is always inconsistent. This is one of those lesser-known facts about the Silk Road that truly brings it to life, the trade in medicine. While we often think of silk and spices, the exchange of medicinal knowledge and rare herbs was a vital part of the route, and women like Sora were often the drivers of this trade. They were healers, pharmacists, and botanists all in one, and their knowledge was as valuable as any merchant's gold. Sora and you spend weeks together, your days filled with the quiet work of translating texts and her patient explanations of ancient remedies. She teaches you to identify different plants, to understand their properties, and to listen to the silent language of the earth. You, in turn, help her with her search, poring over old trade manifests and pilgrims' journals, looking for any mention of the mineral pigment she so desperately needs. It is during this time that you realize the two of you are not so different. You are both keepers of knowledge, one of the written word and the other of the natural world. You are both women who have found a path for themselves that defies the traditional expectations of your cultures. A fun, quirky detail you learn from Sora is the practice of using certain animal bones, particularly from birds, as makeshift acupuncture needles. It's a method that is not in any of the written texts you've studied, a piece of oral history passed down from healer to healer, a testament to the vast unwritten knowledge that existed along the Silk Road. It's a detail that fascinates you, a reminder that the most valuable knowledge isn't always found in books. This is a topic that still sparks academic debate, the extent to which written and oral traditions intersected and influenced each other. While the monastic traditions focused on the written word, the nomadic healers relied on a different, but no less sophisticated system of knowledge transmission. Sora finally finds a mention of the mineral pigment in a dusty, obscure text from a Persian merchant. The text mentions a small remote trading post in the Pamir Mountains, where the mineral is said to be found. The journey is long and dangerous, a path that no one at the monastery would ever dare to take. But Sora is a woman of immense courage, and she is determined. Before she leaves, she gives you a small polished stone, a deep, earthy red. It is a stone of the plains, she says. It is a stone of strength, and it is a stone of healing. Keep it with you. The road is calling to you, and I feel your path will not always be a quiet one. She smiles a genuine, warm smile that reaches her eyes. You feel a pang of sadness at her departure, but also a sense of renewed purpose. Her journey, her determination, and her quiet strength are an inspiration to you. You are still the monastery scribe, but you are also a woman of the plains. Now a woman who understands the language of both books and stones. The world you left behind is not just a memory. It is a vital living part of you, a part that is now ready to re-enter the world and take on a new, more adventurous path. You step out of the monastery and back into the world, but it's a different world than the one you left. The years as a scribe have sharpened your mind and given you a quiet confidence. The call from the merchant in Kashgar, the one who wants you to create illustrated scrolls, has been a whisper in your heart for too long. But you're not going to Kashgar. You're going to a different kind of center, a place of immense power and intricate social maneuvering. You are heading to the court of a regional ruler, a small but influential kingdom that sits at a vital crossroads of the Silk Road. Your path has become a delicate, complex tapestry, a world of politics and diplomacy. You are a diplomat's concubine now, not in the romantic sense, but in the political one. Your role is to be a bridge, a subtle source of information, a woman who can move between worlds and listen to the whispers of the court. Your sponsor is a powerful diplomat, a man who has heard of your skill with both the loom and the pen. He sees in you a unique blend of artistry, intellect, and discretion, a combination that makes you an invaluable asset in a world where information is the most precious commodity of all. He has brought you to the court of a local ruler who is a major player in the silk trade, a man who controls a vital section of the road. Your task is to use your artistic skills to create tapestries and scrolls that both entertain and inform pieces that subtly reflect the political currents of the court. The court is a world of opulent beauty and deadly intrigue. The air is thick with the scent of jasmine and the rustle of fine silk. Women here are not just wives or daughters. They are players in a complex game, their influence woven into the very fabric of the court. Some are powerful matriarchs who control entire family fortunes. Others are courtesans who wield immense power through their connections, and still others like you are artists and scholars whose unique skills make them indispensable. This is one of those deeper historical truths about the Silk Road that often gets lost in the grand narratives of kings and armies, the role of women as quiet but powerful political actors. The court is a place of endless gossip and subtle maneuvers, and you, with your artist's eye and your scribe's ear, are perfectly positioned to observe and record it all. You find a quiet corner in the palace gardens, a place where you can work on your tapestries. You are creating a series of pieces that depict the flora and fauna of the region, but you are also weaving in subtle symbols. A certain flower might represent a powerful rival, a specific bird, a favored ally. The court ladies with their sharp minds and even sharper tongues come to watch you work. They are fascinated by your skill, and they are even more fascinated by the stories you tell. You weave tales of your journeys of the caravanserai and the monastery, of the people you have met and the places you have seen. Your stories are a window into a world they can only imagine, and they are hungry for it. A funny, charming detail you pick up from one of the court ladies is their use of coded language. They would often use metaphors related to textiles and weaving to talk about politics and gossip. The thread of his ambition is unraveling, like a lady might whisper, or her words are a tapestry of deceit. It's a linguistic quirk that makes you smile, a clever, feminine way of navigating a world where a woman's voice is often muted. You find yourself adopting the language, using it to your advantage, weaving your own subtle political commentaries into your tapestries. It's a very dangerous game, but it's one you are getting very good at. The diplomat you serve is pleased with your work. Your tapestries and scrolls, which seem so innocent on the surface, are a powerful tool for him. They are a way of communicating complex political ideas without a single word being spoken. He trusts your judgment and respects your discretion. He relies on your observations, the small details you notice that others might miss. You are not just a concubine, you are an advisor, a trusted confidant. Historians still debate the true extent of female influence in these ancient courts. Were they truly powerful, or were they just pawns in a man's world? You, however, know the truth of it. Power is not always loud or overt. Sometimes it is as quiet and subtle as a thread woven into a tapestry, a whisper in a crowded room, a story told in the shade of a palace garden. You are a testament to that truth, a living, breathing example of a woman who found her power not in the traditional roles assigned to her, but in her own unique skills and her quiet intelligence. The road has brought you here to this gilded cage of power and intrigue, and you, the artist, the scribe, the merchant, are not just surviving it, you are mastering it. The palace walls, once a source of comfort and security, have become a gilded cage. You've learned to navigate the treacherous currents of court politics, to speak in riddles, and to use your art as a weapon. But the road with its honest dust and its open sky calls to you. Your sponsor, the diplomat, recognizes this. He knows that your spirit is too wild for the confines of the court, so he gives you a new mission, one that will take you far from the perfumed halls of power and into the heart of the desert. You are to travel to a remote fortress, a small, heavily fortified outpost that guards a vital caravan route. You're not going there as a diplomat or an artist or a scribe. You're going there as a guard, a protector of the very lifelines of the Silk Road. The journey is long and arduous. You travel with a small caravan of soldiers, a stark contrast to the luxurious caravans of the wealthy merchants you once knew. The air is no longer filled with the scent of jasmine, but with the smell of leather, sweat, and metal. Your fine silks and delicate brushes are replaced with a sturdy tunic and a well-worn bow. You learn to ride a horse, to knock an arrow, and to stand watch under a sky that is both beautiful and unforgiving. This is a life of stark contrasts, a world where survival is not an abstract concept, but a daily, visceral reality. The fortress itself is a marvel of military architecture, a massive square of mud brick walls that rise out of the sand like a silent sentinel. Inside, life is simple and Spartan. There are no palace gardens, no intricate political games, just the quiet camaraderie of a small group of soldiers who have dedicated their lives to protecting the road. You are an anomaly here, a woman among men, a former artist in a world of warriors. But your skills are not useless. You are a keen observer, and your time at court has taught you to read people, to spot a lie, and to understand the subtle shifts of power. You use these skills to become an invaluable member of the team, a quiet intelligence officer in a world of brute force. A fascinating but often overlooked part of Silk Road history is the existence of these remote outposts and the role they played in maintaining the stability of the trade routes. They were not just military installations, they were also small-scale trading hubs, places where weary travelers could find water and safety, and where information could be exchanged. Women, while not typically soldiers, were a vital part of these communities, often managing the day-to-day operations of the fortress, from cooking and cleaning to mending clothes and tending to the sick. You as a guard are a rare exception, a testament to the fact that the roles of women on the Silk Road were far more fluid and varied than we often assume. Your days are a rhythm of patrol watch and the occasional battle with bandits who try to ambush the caravans. The life is brutal, but it is also honest. There is no pretense here, no hidden agendas, just the raw, unfiltered reality of the road. You learn to respect your fellow guardsmen who have dedicated their lives to a thankless task. And they, in turn, learn to respect you, not for your past as an artist, but for your present as a skilled and courageous warrior. You still find time to use your skills. You sketch maps of the surrounding area, a skill you learned from your time as a scribe. You mend the torn uniforms of your fellow guards using the skills you learned as a weaver. Your past is not a distant memory. It is a vital part of your present, a foundation upon which you have built this new, unexpected life. A funny, slightly morbid joke you hear from one of the guards is about the local bandits. He says they are so bad at their job that they once tried to rob a caravan carrying salt, only to get lost in a dust storm and end up all spiced up. It's a dark kind of humor born of a life lived on the edge, but it's a joke that brings a moment of much-needed levity to the harsh reality of your days. It's a reminder that even in the most dangerous of circumstances, people still find a way to laugh, to connect, and to hold on to their humanity. The biggest challenge, and the one that historians still debate, is the true nature of these outposts. Were they truly impartial protectors of the road, or were they just another form of banditry, extorting money from the caravans they were supposed to be protecting? You, as a guard, see the truth of it firsthand. Some of the soldiers are indeed corrupt, but the majority are honest, brave men who believe in the importance of their work. They see themselves as the silent guardians of a world that they know is far larger and more important than their small fortress. They are the unsung heroes of the Silk Road, and you, the artist, the scribe, the diplomat's concubine, are now one of them. You have a new kind of power, a power that comes not from wealth or influence, but from the ability to protect and to serve. The road has led you to this remote fortress, to this life of quiet courage and unwavering duty. And you, the warrior, are not just surviving it. You are thriving. You return to civilization, but not to the gilded cages of a palace or the quiet solitude of a monastery. Your path has led you to a different kind of center, a city of immense wealth and vibrant chaos, Samarkand. Your time as a fortress guard, with its raw honesty and its stark realities, has prepared you for this world. You are not a warrior anymore, but you still carry the quiet strength and the keen eye of a person who has seen the world at its most dangerous. You have a new role now, a new path to walk. You are the spice trader's wife, a woman who is not just a part of a business, but the very heart of it. Your husband, a kind and shrewd merchant named Kai, is a man who deals in the most precious commodities of all spices. His warehouse is a symphony of scents, the warm, earthy aroma of cinnamon, the fiery bite of peppercorns, the exotic sweetness of cloves. The city of Samarkand itself is a monument to trade, a place where caravans from all corners of the world converge. The markets are a riot of colors, sounds, and smells, a living testament to the power of the Silk Road. You, with your experience as a weaver, a scribe, a diplomat, and a warrior, are uniquely suited to this world. You understand the value of a story, the importance of a well-kept ledger, the subtle politics of a negotiation, and the quiet courage it takes to survive. Your role in the business is not just to manage the household. You are Kai's most trusted partner, his silent advisor. You manage the accounts, a task that requires the meticulous attention to detail you honed as a scribe. You negotiate with local farmers and spice growers, a skill you learned from your time at the caravanserai. You even taste test the spices, your discerning palate, a vital asset in a world where a counterfeit peppercorn could ruin a man's reputation. This is one of the more surprising and often overlooked historical truths about the Silk Road, the vital role women played in the family businesses that formed the backbone of the trade. While men were often the public face of the business, women were the quiet, steady hands that managed the day-to-day operations, the unseen forces that kept the gears of the economy turning. A funny, slightly embarrassing memory you have is from your first day in the spice market. You, with your discerning palate, mistook a particularly pungent variety of dried ginger for a common root, only to have a group of seasoned spice traders laugh uproariously at your mistake. Kai, your husband, just smiled and said, "The tongue like the eye must be trained, my love." It's a joke that still makes you smile, a small reminder of your own journey from a simple weaver to a woman who can tell a story with a single taste. But life in Samarkand is not without its challenges. The city is a hub of immense wealth, but it is also a place of political instability. The powerful families of the city are constantly vying for control, and a wrong word or a miscalculated move could bring a family to ruin. You, with your experience in court politics, are a vital part of Kai's defense. You listen to the whispers of the market, the subtle shifts in alliances, and the quiet threats that are veiled in friendly conversation. You are his eyes and ears, his most trusted advisor, in a world where trust is a rare and precious commodity. This is a point of contention among historians, the extent to which women in these roles were truly autonomous. Were they just an extension of their husband's power? Or did they wield their own independent influence? You, however, know the truth of it. Your power is your own, and it is a power that comes from a lifetime of experience, a tapestry of skills woven from the different paths you have walked. One evening, as you and Kai are going over the ledgers, you notice a strange discrepancy. A large shipment of a rare spice, a spice that is only grown in a very specific region, has been sold for a fraction of its market value. Your keen eye, honed by years of watching for counterfeit goods, tells you that something is wrong. You and Kai investigate and you discover that the spice is a fake, a clever imitation made from a common root and a cheap dye. The merchant who sold it is a rival family, a family that is trying to destabilize Kai's business. Your quick thinking and your keen eye save your family from ruin. And it is in that moment that you realize that your past is not just a collection of memories. It is a vital part of who you are, a tapestry of skills that you are now using to protect the family and the life you have built. The road has brought you to Samarkand, to this life of quiet power and immense responsibility. And you, the spice trader's wife, are not just living it. You are shaping it. The rhythm of Samarkand is a constant, vibrant hum. But the road is a restless presence, a song that never quite leaves your soul. Your life as a spice trader's wife is one of prosperity and quiet power, but you feel a pull towards something more. You've come to understand that the true currency of the Silk Road isn't just silk or spice, it's stories. So you make a decision, one that your husband Kai supports with a knowing smile. You will become a traveling performer, a storyteller who carries the whispers of the road from one oasis to the next. Your performance is not one of grand spectacle, but of intimate storytelling. You travel with a small group of musicians and dancers, a tight-knit family of artists who have also found their calling on the dusty trails. Your stage is the flickering light of a campfire, the bustling courtyard of a caravanserai, or the quiet shade of a market square. Your art is a blend of all your past lives. You tell stories of the brave fortress guards, the wise monastery scribes, and the sharp-witted court ladies. You tell them in a way that is both entertaining and deeply personal, weaving in your own experiences and your unique perspective. You are not just a performer, you are a living archive, a repository of the stories that would otherwise be lost to time. This is a specific and often forgotten aspect of the Silk Road, the importance of traveling performers in connecting disparate cultures. They were the original mass media, carrying news, gossip, and cultural ideas from one end of the road to the other. They were a vital part of the social and cultural fabric of the route, and they were often women. Women, with their unique insights and their ability to connect with people on a personal level, were often the most powerful storytellers. You, with your multifaceted past, are a perfect example of this, a woman who has found her voice not in a palace or a monastery, but in the heart of the road itself. A funny little bit of road wisdom you pick up from your fellow performers is a saying they have about a bad audience. They're as still as a camel in a sandstorm. It's a joke that brings a wry smile to your face, a clever, self-deprecating way of dealing with the occasional unenthusiastic crowd. It's a reminder that even in a life of art and travel, a sense of humor is a vital tool, a way of staying grounded and connected to the human experience. One evening, as you are performing in a small village, you see a young girl watching you with an intensity that reminds you of your younger self. She is a weaver, and she is mesmerized by your stories, by the way you use your hands and your voice to paint a picture of a world far larger than her own. After the performance, she approaches you, her hands trembling as she shows you a small, intricately woven tapestry. It is a tapestry of her own life, a small, beautiful piece of art that tells the story of her dreams. You recognize the spark in her eyes, the same spark that was once in your own. You see yourself in her, and you know with a deep certainty that you are not just telling stories, you are inspiring them. This is a profound and often debated point among historians, the true impact of the Silk Road on the lives of women. While the grand narratives focus on the movement of goods and ideas, the real legacy of the road was in the individual stories, the quiet acts of courage and inspiration that were passed down from one generation to the next. Were women just passive recipients of this change, or were they active agents of it, inspiring and empowering each other to forge new paths? You, as the traveling storyteller, are a testament to the latter. You are not just a performer, you are a catalyst, a woman who is using her art to change the world one story at a time. The road has brought you to this life of performance and inspiration, and you, the storyteller, are not just living it. You are becoming a part of the very history you once sought to understand. The road, for all its wonder and inspiration, is also a tiring, relentless mistress. Your body, once so resilient, now longs for a different kind of rhythm, a life of quiet contemplation and intellectual pursuit. You've seen the world, told its stories, and now you crave the peace of a different kind of sanctuary. Your journey leads you to a monastery, not the one of your youth, but a different one nestled in the quiet foothills of the Pamir Mountains. You have a new role now, a new path to walk. You are a monastery novice, a woman who has traded the chaos of the road for the serenity of a life devoted to learning and spiritual practice. The monastery is a world of quiet routines. Your days are filled with meditation study and the meticulous work of transcribing ancient texts. The scent of incense replaces the smell of dust and spices, and the rhythmic chant of the monks replaces the clamor of the marketplace. This is a life of deep introspection, a final chapter in a long and storied journey. But the road is a persistent presence even here. The monastery is a vital hub of knowledge, a place where scholars and monks from all over the known world come to study and exchange ideas. The books you are transcribing are filled with stories of journeys of encounters with different cultures and of the profound spiritual insights that can only be found on the road. This is a specific and often overlooked aspect of the Silk Road, the monasteries as centers of intellectual and spiritual exchange. They were not just places of worship, they were also libraries, universities, and safe havens for scholars and pilgrims. Women, while not always in leadership roles, were a vital part of these communities, often serving as scribes, scholars, and spiritual leaders in their own right. You, with your unique blend of life experiences, are a perfect fit for this world. A woman who has found her final resting place not in a home or a city, but in a community of thinkers and seekers. A funny, charming detail you learn from the abbot of the monastery is their use of a particularly obscure form of calligraphy. They would often use a tiny, almost invisible script to write jokes and personal anecdotes in the margins of the sacred texts. It's a small rebellion, a quiet act of humanity that brings a smile to your face. It's a reminder that even in a life of deep spiritual practice, there is still room for a sense of humor, for a small, quiet rebellion against the seriousness of the world. One afternoon, as you are transcribing a text, you come across a story that gives you pause. It is a story of a young woman, a weaver from an oasis, who left her home to become a traveling merchant. The story is a beautiful, intricate narrative filled with details that are so specific and so personal that you know with a deep certainty that it is a story of you. The woman who brought the text to the monastery is a traveling scholar, a woman who has dedicated her life to collecting and preserving the stories of the road. She tells you that she heard the story from a traveling performer, a woman who told stories of the brave women of the Silk Road. You see the chain of connection, the way your life, your stories have traveled far beyond your own understanding, carried on the very currents of the road you once traveled. This is a profound and often debated point among historians, the true legacy of the Silk Road. Was it in the grand empires and the vast fortunes, or was it in the small individual stories that were passed down from one person to the next? You, as the monastery novice, are a testament to the latter. You are not just a scholar, you are a legacy. Your life, your stories have become a part of the very history you once sought to understand. The road has brought you to this monastery, to this life of quiet contemplation and deep reflection. And you, the novice, are not just living it. You are becoming a part of the very fabric of history itself. The years have passed like grains of sand through an hourglass. The young weaver of Dunhuang is now an elder, a woman whose face is a map of her life, each wrinkle a story, each line a memory. You've traded the loom, the caravanserai, the palace, the fortress, and the road for the quiet wisdom of a monastery, but the road in all its forms is never truly gone. It is a part of you, a thread woven into the very fabric of your soul. You are not just a monastery novice anymore. You are a legacy builder, a woman who is now tasked with passing on the stories of her life and the lives of the women she met along the way. Your final task is to create a masterpiece, a grand scroll that will not just tell a story, but will be the story itself. It is a tapestry of your life, a visual record of your journey from the small oasis to the bustling caravans awry, from the gilded cage of a palace to the quiet strength of a fortress, and from the vibrant chaos of Samarkand to the serene peace of a monastery. You are not just painting a picture, you are creating a testament, a historical document that will tell the untold stories of the women of the Silk Road. This is the final chapter, the grand finale of a life lived in defiance of tradition, a life lived on your own terms. The monastery is your final resting place, but it is not a place of inaction. It is a place of deep reflection, a place where you can finally sit down and weave all the threads of your life into one cohesive whole. You are no longer just a weaver, a scribe, a diplomat, a warrior, or a performer. You are all of them, a culmination of every experience, every choice, and every person you have met along the way. The scroll you are creating is not just a piece of art, it is a legacy. It is a promise to the future, a testament to the fact that the Silk Road was not just a road of men, but a road of women, too. As you finish the final brushstroke, you look at the scroll, a masterpiece of art and memory. It is a beautiful, intricate narrative filled with the vibrant colors of your life and the quiet strength of your spirit. You feel a sense of profound peace, a quiet contentment that comes from a life well lived. You have done it. You have told your story. You have built your legacy. The road has led you to this monastery, to this life of quiet peace and deep reflection. And you, the legacy builder, are not just living it. You are a part of the very history you once sought to understand. The scroll is not just a piece of paper. It is a promise, a testament, a legacy. And with that, your journey is complete.